I'm recording. Next time I have to do it 2 seconds early so I get you screaming. Don't forget to record. I'll have that for posterity. Okay, let's give it a few seconds. Wait till 8:30. Excuse me. Hope everybody had a magnificent day. Baruch Hashem. It was a good day. Hope you got out, get some fresh air, stretch your legs, breathe some oxygen in. Yep. Wait till it hits 8:30. So far, so good. Nice, at least have nice weather. Let May continue that way. Okay, I'm gonna wait a few seconds. We'll blast off at 8:30. I'm gonna unmute, and I'll open it up afterwards. Beautiful. Okay. So welcome everyone once again for another exciting night of Dvar Chizuk. So obviously a lot of things I see over Yontif I haven't shared, a lot of thoughts for drushes that haven't evolved. So I want to share with you, start off with something I saw, a quote in the name of the Lubavitch Rebbe. I'm a closet chassid, I'm not sure if I'm a chassid, certainly an admirer of the Lubavitch Rebbe and much of his Torah and his insight. And I recently received a book. Someone gifted me the book from Telushkin on the Rebbe. It's really magnificent. The truth is, the book says he's one of the people who made the biggest impact on American Jewry in this in his history. At any rate, so I want to share with Dvar. I was so excited when I saw it. I literally danced. It's such a beautiful thought. And I'm not sure if I said it here. I'm old enough that I could say I don't remember saying it and get away with it. I can fake it, even if I do remember. But I don't think I said it. I said it over on Yontif to the guests that came. I didn't have guests. Sorry. Chatase, one of my children came over, and we were on the deck, and I shared it with him at that time. Anyway, so it goes like this. It was a vart. I subsequently saw it in other places, but the first place I saw it was Rabbi Shalom Mordechai Rabashkin, the one who had been in jail and lived bleak with barely any hope he would ever leave. And he describes how he got to a point where he was, the last appeal was denied and he had no hope. So he remembered a vart that he had heard from, sounds like I did say this over. He remembered a word that he heard from the Lubavitch Rebbe years ago when he was a bacher. And the Rebbe spoke about a pasuk. It says, Hashlech al Hashem yavcha, v'hu yichal gelecha. Cast your burden upon Hashem and he will sustain you. And the pasuk's wording is a little difficult because there are a lot of burdens aside from sustenance. Hashlech Hashem yavcha, v'hu yichal gelecha. You need more than just sustenance. So the Rebbe answers, the word yichal gelecha, besides its simple meaning, also contains the 3-letter root word chaf lamed yud, which spells the word kli, a vessel. Reading the pasuk with this in mind, it becomes, throw your burden on Hashem and he will provide the vessel for you. And he writes like this, ordinarily in life, our shtadlus is our vessel for Hashem's blessing. Hashem provides everything, but wants us to provide a kli. We go to work to create a vessel for him to provide parnasa. We go to doctors to create a vessel for him to heal us. But there are times when our efforts to create a vessel are stymied, when we try our best, but all the shtadlus fails. Yet rather than concluding that the situation is hopeless, we're being told that it's now time to ramp up our reserves of Amunah and B'tachon Hashem, who is above all limitations. When we have no vessels left, he will provide the vessel. On that day, I told myself to focus on the fact, he writes about himself, that the only reason we were making these efforts in court was to provide a vessel for Hashem. But now there's no more any vessel. I leave it up to you, Hashem. And then eventually, he received a pardon. Sounds like I've said this somewhere. At any rate, so I saw a story. So I read that on Shuas, and it's really v'hu yichal gelecha. Hashem creates the kli. Never can you ever give up hope, no matter how bleak it is, how impossible the situation seems, and there's no hope. Hashem, because we say, derech teva, there's no derech teva. Hashem could create kelim, and he does constantly. So I saw that story, and it was what's the right word for it? It was cooking with him. It's another word for it, a better word for it. But it was simmering in me. And it's really, it's a word that I think I'll take with me my whole life. And it's something that, we can all relate to. Obviously, we know it instinctively, but it just couched it in very clear and a beautiful pshat pasuk. Even when you lost the hope, Hashem. So I came across, and also over the time, I came across another beautiful story, a COVID story that I think is worthwhile sharing, and that's what I want to share with you today. So this is about a fellow. It doesn't say his first name. It says why Moses. He's a musician by profession, and people who are musicians, Jewish musicians by professions, even if you're not a Jewish musician, I would imagine that your business is not too good today. There aren't too many symphonies going on. There aren't too many things being played, and certainly chasanas, which are being diminished, the levels of the chasana, the minimum, and especially if you're just an extra play. I mean, you play the keyboard and you sing, maybe they can hire you today, even in a small wedding. But the violin is an extra vessel that generally, until weddings come back, and with all the movement towards diminishing the luxurious weddings that people have done, there's a movement that we learned that you don't need fancy. I just parenthetically, someone very close to, I don't know if you remember, if you've been following my musings here, I had mentioned early on about a family whose first child out of 6 children, I think, got married, and they couldn't go to the wedding. They couldn't go to the wedding, and the wedding took place in New York, and they watched it. The father of the chassan, the mother of the chassan, the whole family, wherever they were, not one member of the family was there. Okay, but they said that it was the most meaningful and so happy, and they didn't feel like they were missing anything. I mean, they never had a wedding, so maybe they don't know. So, but this was, they felt it was so special. And I just got a call today that another child of theirs, in years they had a drought, and now another daughter, their only daughter, is getting married next Sunday. And also in Alabama, in Birmingham, Alabama, and they're not going to be able to go to the chasana. And again, a second child. They had 6 children. They finally are marrying off 2 Chuppah Kedushin, and they're missing both, and they're so happy. Anyway, that's something that came across my way today. Just had to share that. So just people with emunah, just amazing. And they can see, again, when you wait long and you're happy your daughter's finally getting married, even though she's trying for a long time. So I guess you say, what the heck? Forget about all the other stuff. I said, just get married. We're so happy for you. It's amazing. Anyway, but b'chal ofen, that's just an interesting thing that came across today. But anyway, so this fellow he's out of a job, and he's pushing, there's nothing, zero. This is profession. Probably made a half decent living because the weddings, they do get a nice return. Anyway, so he wanted to do something. He wanted to be makabel on himself, some sort of a Kabbalah. And all the years he wanted to do, I spoke about this also. There's someone that I'm following who I once told this to. He read it in one of my articles, and he's done it. And he said his business has grown. But there's a school to daven benching every word, the kavanah. It's brought down from earlier sources to say Berachos Hamazon slowly in proper kavanah, and to school for parnasa. So this guy, he's usually running here and there and practicing and doing, but now he has plenty of time. So he said, I'm going to undertake this Kabbalah, and that's what he decided to do. So he decided he's going to daven benching from a bencher, and but again, you don't know where the Yeshua can come from. I mean, he's a musician. Unless they find a vaccine, there's no hope. What's he going to do? He's going to have to learn a whole new profession. At any rate, in the middle of quarantine, he decided he's going to devote himself to this goal. So on one Shabbos during the lockdown, he davened in an outdoor minyan somewhere, in a backyard minyan. I don't know where he lived exactly, maybe Brooklyn or whatever. And exactly 10 people. And they said that everyone should go home for each Shal Shudas after Mincha Shabbos. But they would come back before Ma'ariv, and they would sing Zmiras together. And so he decided, he came back, and they were going to bench and then daven Ma'ariv. So he came back, and they sang Zmiras, it was beautiful. And they came to benching, so they started benching. Meanwhile, what people get antsy as it gets towards, 42 minutes exactly. They're ready to v'hurachum. But meanwhile, this guy was committed. There was exactly 10 people in the backyard minyan, and he was saying every word painstakingly, and and even though it delayed them a good few minutes, and time seems much longer when you're waiting at the Shabbos. So what might have been 5 or 6 minutes seemed like eternity for some of the people. So after he finally finished benching and they started Meir, one of the people came over to him and he said, there's an Indian of Teichman Tzibura. So the guy said, listen, he told the guy, he said, listen, I have no parnasa. I'm a musician. The business for musicians seems to be, has ended, at least for the near future and possibly forever, that level of ability. And he says, and I undertook to say some others, so I know maybe it was, I was on the expense of everyone else, but you got to understand. So the guy says, he heard, and he said, by the way, I have a friend who owns a nursing home, and he mentioned to me that during the quarantine, he can't find anything to keep the people happy. And he says, maybe, you'll play an instrument, you'll be able to play, they'll arrange someone to play where it's not dangerous for them to hear. And you can go once in a while to play. So sure enough, the guy gives him his number and he calls him and he began to play once a week for this guy's nursing home. And the people were old timers. They were energized. Their spirits were uplifted. And the nursing home owner, who was so happy to see they're so limited, they can't have visitors. And here, this guy came and lifted his spirits. He says, listen, he says, I have a few other facilities, maybe you can go to each one. And each time he went, it was a big hit. And he never thought, this was like a kli that came out of him. Who thought that he would make a parnasa from playing in nursing homes? It never entertained in his mind that someone would hire him. Eventually, as the quarantine in New York, wherever it is that he is, started to loosen up more and more. There's a recent story. And he said, you know what? I'm going to hire you to play. I have many nursing homes. I have connections. And I see the impact it has on people. And he gave him a contract to play in his nursing home on a regular basis, several times a week. And all because he kept the Kabbalah. But there's a lot of story, a lot of morals in the story. Number one, it's a good idea to undertake something as chus, to keep, especially in these times, we want to stay healthy and maintain our parnasa, and our children should maintain their parnasas and the like. And another lesson is that the other fellow was a little annoyed with him, but he quickly understood and was sensitive to where he came from. And the guy who was annoyed turned out to be the shliach, the Eliyahu Hanavi, for him to link him with the guy. But the moral of the story is, Hashem Hashem Yahavcha, V'hu Yichal Galaka. He said, Hashem, I have no way. There's no way. I'm a musician. There's not going to be, there's no bookings, there's nothing. I have to have parnasa, I have children, what am I going to do? And Hashem, out of nowhere, something he never dreamt would happen. Hu Yichal Hashem creates the kli. So we never lose hope. Everything is always possible. And that's the lesson for today. The Chizuk for the, I don't know what day in COVID we're on, but I don't know how long we can keep on giving chizuk, but hopefully Hashem will be mechazik us, and I can keep coming up with words of chizuk. I hope I'm mechazik. It's mechazik me. My rule is, if I'm mechazik, then maybe I can be mechazik others. I try. So I hope I succeeded.